It's time to get lost in the Midcard. This Believe in Pro Wrestling property is brought to you by Bet Online, the continued #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Join now and receive your 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use our promo code BELIEVE. Now, here are Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black on the Believe Podcast Network.
Yeah! Let me talk to you. Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, where you have to wonder if you're really the best in the world when you're the common denominator for disruption. It's Lost the Midcard. Welcome, our new start time, because I started 10-hour days today. Survived nicely. I mean, 7:45 to 6:15 my time usually. I mean, I can get out a little early if I'm done with my work. So, yeah, we'll be starting about somewhere between 10 after and 15 after, just after what we normally been doing. So just going to be a little later, which means it's going to be even, we'll jam pack all that news and all that fun CM Punk talk today. We got a lot to talk about.
So much.
Yeah, there's that. There is some Bray Wyatt news. There is a lot of stuff since it's kind of a calm before the storm, calm before the AEW storm that is known as All In and All Out. Then we got shoot, is it 3 weekends in a row of pay-per-views, All In, All Out in WWE? Are they all? Is it WWE on the? Let's see here.
Yeah, they might be the following week after All Out.
Is it?
Or is it the same weekend as All Out?
And what is the next one? Is it Payback?
It's Payback.
Payback is September 2nd. According to this.
So it's a day before It's a day before All Out. Oh God, that week is gonna be brutal.
Man, and NXT's got No Mercy later that month too, on the 30th. NXT catching kind of fire lately in the ratings. It's been a pretty decent product. I'm not hating it at all, but we'll see. I always need to catch up because that's one of my trivia hosting nights, so I don't always I gotta catch up. But now that I'm working 10-hour days, I get Fridays off. Hey, it's a blessing in disguise. So
I'm normally off on Mondays, but I had to work today, so I'm did not sleep well last night. I'm tired. My allergies are kicking my ass. Then you set Twitter on fire. I didn't mean to. Like, seriously, a lot of people got up in their feelings about that tweet. Like, my God. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I didn't read your I didn't even know what you're talking about yet. I didn't see the tweet, so now I need to when we get off the air and go to Raw, I need to look at the comment section of Matt's Twitter. Steven Chambers, as always, thanks for joining us. Charles CM Crybaby. I mean, God, is it worth it? We're gonna get into that and much more. But first, if you have not done so already, please make sure you're subscribed to Believe in Pro Wrestling. Hit that bell icon. That way you know every time we go live. Like I said, Matt and I now, a newer time. Again, we're going to aim for somewhere between 10 and 15 after the hour. So anywhere in between that. Of course, the YouTube will be set up in the afternoon, so you can also get notified when we go live there as well. But I'm going to say anywhere between 10 and 15 after the hour is going to be the expected start time, barring any crazy work stuff. But also make sure you hit that bell icon so you know every time that Rick and SP3 go live with their shows as well, and as well with Rick's interviews and such. So it's always great to hit that bell so you know when all that starts coming your way. Also share, give us a thumbs up as well. Help share this out to as many people as we now strive to hit 700 on the YouTube right now. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter, as always, my co-host. He's on the Twitter and feeling a little better today. At least he can talk. It's good to have him at least in the chat last week, but now he's on camera with us, Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
like I said, my allergies are killing me. Last week it was my throat. This week it's just like I woke up today after a terrible night's sleep, and my allergies were just like, "You're gonna have a bad day today," and I'm like, "Thanks." So it's just been it's been a brutal allergy day for me, and I'm just trying to get through it, and I'm trying to get to bed at a decent hour tonight so I can wake up tomorrow and we'll do some more work.
The Outrunners. How about those guys? Those guys definitely came in through a time machine. They got schooled by is it Swerve and Fox on Collision? That 80s tag team jobber team.
The Outrunners look like someone who should have been matched up against Techno Team 2000.
Right. I think was that Swerve and Fox that killed them, or I can't remember who killed them, or maybe it was
wasn't it the Acclaimed?
Maybe it was the Acclaimed. I can't remember.
Pretty sure it was the Acclaimed.
There were some jobbers this week on AEW, so. Oh well, let's just get into the that guy. Let's just get into that right away here. Yes, more CM Punk drama. As we learned from Collision, after Collision came and went this Saturday, we learned that a few people were sent home. Hangman Page, Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, Ryan Nemeth, all had flights into Greensboro.
No, not correct.
No?
No, Hardy and Isaiah was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And Nemeth and Page were this weekend. The thing is, due to Punk's comments post Collision, all this information spilled out like a leaky faucet over the past 48 hours on everything that has occurred in recent weeks behind the scenes, at Collision. And if Punk would have just kept his fucking mouth shut, I don't think any of this would be happening today.
I did not catch it. What did he say off air after Collision?
Something to the effect of, I finally figured out what Hangman and Hangman Page means because I was at a local store and his action figures are collecting dust and hanging on the shelves and nobody wants to buy them and he's not a real star and blah blah blah. I don't have the exact quote in front of me. I can go and find it if you want, but it's petty bullshit. Just petty bullshit. And it's just like, for someone who claims that he's sorry and that he wants to sit down and talk to these people, he's really not making the conscious effort to extend the olive branch for this to happen. Nobody more than me just wants to see this end. I love Punk. I love the Elite. Just freaking, if Tony Khan could just man up, for a better lack of term, and get these guys together in a room or even a fucking Zoom meeting, for the love of God, in separate places, and get them to hash this shit out, things would probably be better already. So as much as people want to be mad at Punk and in the Elite right now, I think a lot of fingers need to be pointed back at Tony Khan.
Yeah.
And because Tony's the boss. It all ends with Tony. Tony needs
to have balls.
Yeah, he needs to find his set, and he needs to nip this in the ass. You are nearing literally the biggest month in AEW history. If you went around from All In to Grand Slam, in late September, we're literally looking at the biggest month in the history of that company. Don't fuck this up by just sitting on your hands and don't do anything. You got to step up and do something. This is the time for Tony Khan to step up as a leader, as the owner and the president of the company, and say, hey, y'all need to knock this shit off. We need to figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just gets old. It's the same old shit. And
it's really
now
exhausting. It's really exhausting.
It just keeps spreading. You got Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy. Then you got Ryan Nemeth, who, I mean, Is he wrong? Calling Punk the softest man alive?
Punk's reaction to that tweet paints Nemeth as 100% correct in what he said.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're supposed to be one of the top professional wrestlers of all time. For the love of God, man, you need to grow some thicker skin.
Well, apparently, Punk and Nemeth did talk and shake hands, and
well, that didn't mean anything because he got sent home this weekend.
Yeah, people.
They talked and shook hands at Dynamite a few weeks ago when it was in Chicago.
Yeah, Punk and Punk's people are who are saying that they shook hands and Nemeth apologized. But yeah, and then of course Hangman Page, he was supposed to be in for a pre-tape and was asked to leave. They were doing the pre-tape away from the arena. Then of course we just talked about Punk taking a shot at Hangman afterwards. And House of Wrestling claims it came off in a way that Punk didn't want it to come off, and he felt bad about it after.
Yeah, both in the transcript, both Dax and Punk allude to the fact that they had their bell rung in the match with the House of Black. I don't know if that means concussion or what, but they both implied that they were not, proper state of mind during the post-collision promo. But Dax and Cash didn't say anything wrong. And Punk took in, an unneeded shot at Hangman because, heaven forbid, a fan had a Hangman Page sign in the crowd.
Well, there was also one front and center, CM Punk is boring. Right in front of where Punk was standing. I thought that was kind of funny. Charles in the chat, Tony Khan needs to nut up and make an example of Punk. Dude is taking shots at the rest of the roster when he wants in public, and Khan needs to show no matter how big you are, this is not going to happen. But
I couldn't agree more. Punk's a draw for the company. Punk makes money for the company. He's one of the biggest names the company has. But you cannot let this man's ego inflate to the point where he believes that he's untouchable. Yeah. Nobody in that company should be untouchable. At the end of the day, Tony Khan should be able to keep his roster in line.
And that's why guys like Undertaker were so valuable back in the day, to put some of that shit to bed. But there's nobody that really has that kind of stature because
there's people there that do, but they don't want to get involved.
And it's also a company that's only 3-4 years old as well, where WWE at that point, Taker had been there a while, and plus you don't really want to fuck with Taker anyway. So it is like, well, but yeah, and of course Punk continuously is saying he wants to work with the Elite. He wants to work with Kenny Omega. The other sides don't really apparently give a shit at this point. I mean, it'd be good theater, but
here's the thing: if he truly wants to, like I said, if he truly wants to work together with these people, start acting like you do.
Yeah,
and start start acting like a different person. It's just like, my God, it's honestly it's downright childish at this point.
Off to some better news.
Let's see. I'm pretty sure we've got some better things to talk about than Punk at this point.
We got some better things to talk about now that we have a shorter show. Bray Wyatt. First off, man, good to hear the news on Bray Wyatt. Apparently, it was confirmed that it was life-threatening cancer.
That I've not heard
illness.
The cancer confirmed by anybody.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are making that jump to conclusion, but that's not out there, and that's Bray's story to tell.
Yeah,
but it was described as a life-threatening career-ending illness. So I mean, people can make their own assumptions at this time if they'd wish, but like the official word on what it was is not out there at this time.
Okay, I thought I read cancer somewhere, but
I don't know where you saw that.
I don't remember either. It's been a long time. But yes, Fightful has learned that Bray Wyatt is getting closer to clearance after 6 months without the clearance, and he is getting very close to that. There were ideas to be, of course, integrated with Alexa Bliss, Eric Young. Obviously, Uncle Howdy Bo Dallas has been, on hiatus as well. While all
there's
this
really nothing for him while Bray's out.
Yep, exactly.
Not in that role that they had him pegged in.
And but his father, IRS Mike Rotunda, spoke with Bill Apter and confirmed that he'll return to WWE hopefully shortly, and we'll go from there. So that's coming from his father himself, and so that's some very good news there as well.
Absolutely.
And there was some there was some questionable decisions in the creative, and maybe this
hopefully
break
this will be a blessing in disguise and will serve as a creative reset for him when he returns.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be very great to see him back again, and they can pick up where they left off with Bo Dallas, which he was never revealed yet, so that reveal is still out there. Obviously Bliss is not going to be back anytime soon. Eric Young no longer with the company, so now you go back to the drawing board. Do you just start it all over again with Bray and Howdy and see where you branch out? It's going to be interesting to see, but it'll be cool once that music hits. The welcome back is going to be thunderous for Bray Wyatt. Is there any direction off the top of your head that you'd like to see him and Bo go?
I mean, I like the idea of the new Wyatt family. Clearly, it's going to need a different cast of characters. At a few points, they were teasing Liv Morgan as having something to do with Bray early on. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing her inserted in there in the female role. And I'm not really sure who on their roster right now stands out as viable additions to the group. But I'm sure they could make it work.
Steven Chambers might see Bray tonight. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that one. I think we're talking at least September until we see Bray back.
MK helping us out. It was Aussie Open that beat the 80s boys. Miro and Hobbs. Yeah, there's some big men slapping meat there. Those two guys. That's probably going to be either all in or all out match. I don't know. Is there room for all in? It
certainly seemed to be implied that it would be an all out match. My only issue with this is I'm begging Tony Khan to think of something new, because correct me if I'm wrong, JB, but I'm pretty sure the proposed feud between Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs was one of the rejected storylines that Miro went away from TV for 8 to 9 months for in the first place.
Yeah.
So why the hell are we going back to that? Like you couldn't come up with anything,
I am
in
baffled.
The last 9 months for Miro while he was gone. Like, yeah, come on, Tony.
I'm absolutely baffled at how you cannot come up with anything with Miro. I just am baffled how they have a lack of coming up with anything for him. It's baffling, but at the same time, maybe Miro got convinced because Hobbs has been doing good work. So maybe Miro got convinced during that time and is okaying a match. Miro absolutely has to win. It's his first match back. Powerhouse can take a loss here. That's not going to hurt him. But you got to have Miro win this match. You almost got to have him win in 5 minutes. But though I'd rather see a longer match with him and Hobbs, and a longer match could be good. You almost got to.
The way they're setting up the story, Hobbs has to win.
Yeah, which is
so.
I mean, what the hell are we doing?
Is it the best for Miro's return right now? Anyway, so no. I don't know. The whole thing just seems very odd. Like I would have wanted to believe that they would have had a better plan in place for Miro when he came back, and it doesn't seem like they've had one.
Cool to see Andrew Everett. I love how he's doing the old Paul White gimmick, billing himself as 7'4" and wearing the old singlet. That kind of cracks me up. I like Andrew Everett. He's a great talent. So Miro should win the match and beat Orange Cassidy. I think Yuta's going to beat Orange Cassidy.
That's what I'm worried about. I don't want that to happen. I do not want Wheeler Yuta to be the one to end that reign.
I just think it is going to be that way because of just how good Yuta's been and how they've entrusted him in big spots, and he's come through. I just have a feeling that they're rewarding him by ending that streak. Is just my guess. MK saying, Matt, cut it out. We're getting the match. We need to see these matchups. Tired of jobber matches. I'm not tired. There is a place in pro wrestling.
What match am I saying that we're not getting?
I don't know.
That doesn't. I'm like, you're not even making sense there. MK Asper. I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced.
But yeah. More good news, maybe. We might see a good excuse to use this photo again because of that great suit and hat combo by Ian Riccaboni there. But word is through Fightful Select the other day that Nigel McGuinness might be working towards a return to the ring. Sources have confirmed to Fightful Select that former Ring of Honor World Champion has been taking measures to try to return to the ring. Not been told definitively that he has been cleared, but he's been taking measures that indicated he was considering a return to the ring. McGuinness is now 47, has not wrestled in over a decade. His last match was in December of 2011. His last televised match, September 2010, TNA Explosion against Stevie Richards. Fightful has confirmed that McGuinness was brought up in recent months as a possible competitor on the All In card. Was that possibly a Daniel Bryan matchup, Matt?
I think Danielson and McGuinness was planned for All In, especially the way Danielson called him out a couple months ago about keeping his mouth shut and he wasn't a wrestler anymore. Yeah. Bryan doesn't do those things on accident. There was a method to what Bryan had to say. So yeah, I believe that was the plan. If he was gonna be able to be cleared, I think they wanted to do Danielson and McGuinness. And since Danielson's obviously gonna be out past All In and All Out, I would just hold Nigel's match off until Danielson's back. Because that's the money match. Especially if Nigel's not going to be in a full-time competitor and he's going to be picking and choosing on what he does. The Danielson match is what people want to see. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, so hopefully maybe when Bryan's clear, that's something that could happen at maybe Full Gear or something. And look at that beautiful transition I just made as we've got some information on Full Gear. This was from Fightful Select a few days ago. And it looks like there is looking to be a West Coast pay-per-view for the November. They're looking at the Kia Forum on Saturday, November 18th for Full Gear, which would be, I believe, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken.
I still don't know how this is going to work. How do you just not run Collision on a given Saturday night? This seems very odd to me. To me, it would make more sense to just run the Kia Forum Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And do Collision Saturday night and do the pay-per-view on Sunday. Like, the fact that they're saying the pay-per-view's on Saturday is very, very weird to me. I can't imagine TNT is just like, sure, we don't want your program Saturday night. Run a pay-per-view instead. It seems very, very weird to me that they would be doing this.
Jaguars have a home game on Sunday the 19th. And in the past, AEW has avoided scheduling pay-per-view events on Sunday, with Tony Khan noting as an NFL owner he didn't want to compete against himself, but at the same time...
Earlier in November, there was a Sunday where the Jaguars had a bye week. I am still shocked that they chose not to run Full Gear that weekend. That's mind-boggling to me that they didn't run Full Gear the weekend the Jags had a bye week. That to me, that just makes too much sense.
At the same time, you're gonna know if you're playing on Sunday night. So the Jaguars aren't playing on Sunday nights. You're not really competing against, unless he didn't want to compete against the NFL. Or the Fightful article says he didn't want to compete against himself, but I don't know if he's talking about the NFL as a whole or the Jaguars.
I believe it's the NFL as a whole.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But still, with the Jaguars being off a weekend, that frees Tony up to work with AEW. Because this whole situation seems really. I don't know how they're going to handle this Full Gear weekend. I think it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to tape Collision and have it make no sense, really, with Full Gear? It's, it's hard to fathom, but what they're going to do with that. But yeah,
I have no idea.
Jaguars have a bye the first weekend of November.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought Full Gear was going to happen. I'd have put money down on that a month or two ago when I saw the schedule. So yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. We got a more of a tease for the AEW game side here. Recently, Aubrey Edwards confirmed in an interview that she's working on other titles for AEW games that she cannot talk about yet. Of course, she was handling AEW's first mobile game, the general manager game, and then, of course, their focus on Fight Forever. Matt, do you have any inklings or any idea what they might be going towards here with other games?
They've got that. I think it's called AEW Figure Fighters. Yeah, AEW Figure Fighters will be launching probably at some point next year. So I'm assuming that's what she's talking about. Like, I'm not really sure what else she could be, referring to right now. It's possible there could be multiple things that they're working on, but I'm assuming AEW Figure Fighters is what she's referencing.
Is that kind of going to be a turn-based fighting game?
Nobody knows anything. There's just a splash page on AEWFigureFighters.com with images of Darby Allin, and I believe it's, if I'm trying to remember, I think it's either Jamie Hayter or Chris Statlander. And they're just action figure versions of them to show you what the character models are going to look like. So,
Joey Legendary in the chat, if Nigel McGuinness could not have a physical match, I'd love to have him take out a newly crowned AAA champion QT Marshall or maybe Jeff Jarrett.
QT Marshall and Nigel McGuinness would be hilarious.
Yeah, it would.
That would be funny shit. I would not hate that.
Charles, how about we support Fight Forever before other titles?
Fight Forever. Tony Khan said he's happy with the sales. He said the future for the game is strong, but THQ Nordic is majorly dropping the ball in terms of open communication with the community and what's to come with, people are begging for some form of a roadmap, and THQ is just twiddling their thumbs. So, more content's coming. When it's coming, we don't know, because THQ Nordic aren't good at their jobs. So,
the sales are good, but how about the concurrency? I mean, the player, is online dropping off completely?
Bottom line, I think the game's a lot of fun when I play it. I have a lot of fun playing it with friends. Online is riddled. Look, as good as the online works, it's riddled with problems due to OP, creator wrestlers and certain, skills being, spammed to hell and back. So for a lot of people, that's not fun. And I totally understand that. And these are the type of things that need to be openly addressed by THQ Nordic and AEW games. And because THQ Nordic's the publisher, this falls on them. And they're just not doing their job. And it's the long and the short of it. It's disappointing. Like I said, I think the game's fun. There's a lot more content coming. We're a very impatient society, but sometimes open communication and understanding goes a long way. And THQ being silent on that regard is what's causing so much unrest in the community to begin with.
Moving on, the single thing we did not want to see at the end of SummerSlam happened with the Usos splitting up, and Matt Hardy on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast threw in his 2 cents in regards to splitting up the Usos. Said he wouldn't have split them up. It's very WWE-ish. Of course, they love to break up long-standing tag teams. Of course, you see that all since the beginning of time. The Rockers.
I do.
sorry to interrupt you. I need to address this in the chat. The people saying they should fix Fight Forever first. You need to keep in mind the mobile games that are in development have nothing to do with Fight Forever. They're two totally different teams. The AEW Games team that is working on the mobile games have absolutely nothing to do with Ukes and THQ Nordic's progress on AEW Fight Forever. They're two separate teams. They have nothing to do with each other. It's not one should be fixed before the other. They're both in development on their own sides. Yes, Ukes and THQ Nordic should get their asses in gear and get some patch updates and a roadmap out for Fight Forever, but that shouldn't stop the AEW Games team in-house from developing new mobile games for the promotion. Two things can happen at the same time.
Yep. On his Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, Matt said, maybe they have something genius planned and it's going to turn into a story that blows us all away. But in my opinion, I would have rather not seen Jimmy turn on Jay. I love the fact that the Usos have been such an important part of the story. I love the fact that they had each other's backs. I love that Jay ended up making decisions to step away from Roman and go away from his brother and for Jimmy to come back. It's very WWE-ish. Once again, I don't know. Maybe they have something that's going to blow us away. I don't know. But I wouldn't have split the Usos. I think they were a great tag team. They're more valuable when they're together rather than feuding against each other. I would have rather seen Jimmy return and still have Jay's back in some way. And I don't know where I would have taken the angle, but I wasn't crazy about the idea of Jimmy betraying Jay and joining back with Roman. But he didn't really join back with Roman. What did you think of his reasoning on Friday, Matt?
Oh, it was trash. The entire segment was trash. From Jimmy's explanation to Jay quitting the company, it was so bad, top to bottom. It's literally, oh my God, we turned Jimmy way too soon because we want to have Jimmy face Jay at WrestleMania. Now what are we gonna do? I know. Let's have Jay Uso quit the company so he's gone for a few months so we can extend his bullshit out to WrestleMania 40. Like,
that sounds about
the
WWE's way of thinking.
Bloodline story self-destructed at SummerSlam, and it was laid to rest at SmackDown. It's done. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking.
But Matt, we're only a third of the way there.
Yeah, well, that's bullshit. Just like Kurt Angle called it bullshit, and Paul got all butthurt about it. It's bullshit, Paul. Look, Cody should have won at Mania. Bottom line.
Yeah.
Everything that they've done with the Bloodline since WrestleMania could have been done without the championship.
Yeah.
Easily. And now we're at the point where they've backed the Bloodline stuff so far into a corner where it doesn't make sense anymore. And I've had it. Like, they ruined a good thing. And it sucks.
Yeah, that's not the only thing I've got regarding Kurt Angle. Hey, yet another great segue into our next topic. How about that? This guy right here, another maybe head scratcher, is in Balor not winning at SummerSlam. And Kurt Angle says, I wouldn't blame Balor for going somewhere else if WWE doesn't start putting him over. Obviously, it's been 7 years. I thought especially... I thought it was a lock with Damian Priest winning the briefcase that in the rematch, Balor would win. Instead,
the story would have been so much more interesting.
Yeah, instead they made Balor
holding that title and having to look over his shoulder at Priest.
They made Balor look like a goof who got mad because Priest wanted him to use the briefcase to attack Seth. Then
which he should have.
Then Priest slides him the briefcase and
he demanded it. Balor demanded to hand him the briefcase. Priest did what he was told as a friend, went to distract the referee, and Balor went to proceed to pick up the briefcase in the dumbest way humanly possible when you're facing someone who uses the curb stomp as their finisher. Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, let me crawl on my hands and knees with my head over the briefcase. MK, if Cody would have won the title, his popularity would be through the roof. It still is through the roof, actually. But
somehow Cody still managed, to survive that loss at Mania, and he's still over as hell. But I think he'd be even more over now if he would have won at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I don't know. It's maybe it's all part of the story, Matt. It's all part of the story. I don't know.
It's something. Well, I'll tell you that much. It's something.
And congrats to Matt here, correctly predicting your G1 winner, Tetsuya Naito.
I called it at the beginning, people.
Naito defeated Kazuchika Okada to win G1 33, winning the tournament for the third time. He won it previously in 2013 and 2017. So
he's gonna make good on it this time. He's beating Sonata at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I think so too. In winning it, he goes, I feel like I had a lot more on the line this time, and got him pulled him through a very star-studded field, I would say. And of course, you got guys like your regulars for New Japan, which still fill that roster out quite nicely. And you got Eddie Kingston coming over, who had a pretty good showing as well. It was a pretty good field for the G1. So, all right, let's go to the chat here. MK saying terrible. That was the old love for Finn Balor. Yeah, Joey, Eddie Kingston did have a pretty good show and didn't quite make the quarterfinals, but
Eddie was thrilled to be a part of that. I think Eddie could have gone over there and lost every single match, and he would still been as happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah,
like that man lived that man got to live out his dream, and God bless him for it. I can't wait to see him back in AEW, and hopefully he'll take Claudio's head off and win that Ring of Honor World Championship.
That'll be good. That would be good. Moving on to looking forward to tonight and to Wednesday. AEW Dynamite's going to be Fight for the Fallen on Wednesday. We've got, as we mentioned, Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta.
They're doing it as an all-week thing. So okay. Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision this week is Fight for the Fallen, and next week's Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision will be Fyter Fest, which is presented by AEW Fight Forever. So, hey, Tony, THQ, Ukes.
Hey.
Next week might be a really good time to introduce new things for AEW Fight Forever.
Maybe. As we mentioned, Cassidy defending the international title against Yuta, which I think he's going to win. Matt, I think so too.
I don't want him to, but I'm terrified that he's going to.
Chris Jericho is going to give.
Cassidy's reign has been way too good to let it end against Wheeler freaking Yuta.
Oh, Yuta ain't bad though.
Look, he ain't bad, but he ain't the guy that should be getting the rub of ending Orange Cassidy's title reign.
Who should?
Ain't no way. Oh, Miro right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Andrade.
Chris Jericho.
Roosh. I could go on. Like, there's plenty of great, Keith Lee, heaven forbid. There's plenty of people. Swerve should have ended it like a month ago. There's plenty of people more deserving to end this reign than Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta's got the Blackpool Combat Club rub. He doesn't need a title right now. So that title ending that record-breaking reign that Cassidy's on could make somebody right now. Yuta doesn't need it, but there's plenty of people on that roster that desperately do.
Well, maybe Yuta doesn't win then.
I'm hoping he doesn't. He doesn't.
Chris Jericho gives the middle finger to Don Callis. At least that's my prediction. I don't think he's joining Callis.
Yeah, I think this is a swerve. I think this is almost the Moxley accepting to go into Inner Circle and then I was just joking.
Now, I don't think JAS is
going to lead
to
Jericho and Ospreay. Dude, I think that whole thing. I think the whole JAS thing that was a setup. I think it was all planned out by Jericho.
Oh.
I think it was all part of the plan.
So they're all together.
I think they're all in on it. I could be wrong, but I think they're all in on it.
Sit down interview, Kenny Omega, Jim Ross. We have what do we have for Kenny at
The rumored match, according to Dave Meltzer, is Omega, Hangman, and Kota Ibushi against Takeshita and Bullet Club Gold. So, in the way Bullet Club Gold called out the Elite on Collision Saturday, that certainly led some credence to Dave's report that he made several days before the collision occurred.
I like that idea. Joey Legendary, Sue's van is an unlockable in a parking lot. Poor Sue's van, R.I.P. That thing got
destroyed.
That
match was nuts.
It was great. I don't know if it was as good as
honestly,
the
first it's Stadium Stampede. I know we got a horse. I know we've got a golf cart. If they don't add Sue's van in there at some point, that's just a missed opportunity.
Every time
when that thing comes out, how could you not have Sue's van in there?
Every time I see Sammy take that bump, oh my god. A spiked Nike is a good idea too, and an arcade gimmick match. Those arcade games in Fight Forever are a lot of fun. I like those. Those are a good addition to the game in my opinion.
Once I figured out how to play them online, they're even better.
Yeah.
So they certainly didn't make it easy to figure out how to play those online, by the way. Like they really should have been more clear, because there were a lot of people who didn't think you could play them online at all. So it's just like, you got to do a better job.
He's saying hoping for Kenny and Ospreay, which we thought we were going to get to that direction.
It sounds like Ospreay and Jericho, man. I'd love to see Omega Ospreay 3, but that doesn't look like it's in the cards.
Space it out. I'm fine with spacing it out, even though Wembley be the great place to do it.
It might end up having a Wrestle Kingdom next year. The rubber match might conclude at Wrestle Kingdom in January. I would not rule that out at all.
Good. This probably is not going to be any shocker, but winner goes to All In, Bunny and Britt Baker. But welcome back, Bunny, after being injured.
You know who should have been the opponent here for Brett, to add to just to create some sense of doubt on who might win? Should have been Ruby.
Yeah.
Because then the Outcast could have played it up, or it's going to be Hikaru Shida against all three members of the Outcast, but Britt prevents that by winning the match, maybe with an assist from Hikaru to make sure it doesn't turn into like a 3-on-1 match at All In. By putting the Bunny in there, look, we all know Britt was going no matter what, but if you would have thrown Ruby in there instead, you would have at least put some kind of story in there with a little bit of, well, maybe they might go this way. Instead of 110% Britt's winning this match, she gonna win that match with her eyes closed if she needed to. So
good. MJF and Adam Cole talk about the main event of All In. Of course, they are now going to be in 0 Hour against Aussie Open too, which I almost think
I'm super excited about that, because this is the biggest thing they've ever done on a 0 Hour buy-in type show to encourage last-minute pay-per-view buys. I think something big is going to occur in this tag match that will set up the main event for later in the night. And I think they're going to get a really nice boost in pay-per-view buys based on what happens in that match on the 0 Hour.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'd open 0 Hour with it. I would not main event 0 Hour with that. I would open it with it at noon Eastern time and give that hour. Just give that hour to let the energy of what went down build online to convince people to go out there and, put their money down for the show.
I almost think that they're going to win and then drop it to the Kingdom. I think they're going to feud. I'm guessing they're going to feud with the Kingdom.
See, here's the thing: the Kingdom have disappeared from Ring of Honor programming. Maria's still on Ring of Honor, and she's scouting Layla Hirsch and Cole Carter. But the Kingdom is now appearing on Dynamite and Rampage without Maria. So I think there's something going on. I know a lot of people are going with the Cole's going to turn heel on MJF. And if they do, it's because Cole's reforming the Kingdom with Bennett, Taven, and Strong. And they're going to be, the four of those guys are going to be the new Kingdom, and they all duped MJF going into the show. Mm-hmm. But at the same token, I still see the end of All In occurring with MJF holding up one belt, CM Punk holding up the other, and they're going to face each other at All Out the following weekend to determine the real world champion.
Darby Allin and Nick Wayne against the Gates of Agony. I thought that was a well done beatdown by the Mogul Embassy on Nick Wayne. add some heat to that feud. I think that was really well done. The Guns and the Bucks, brothers versus brothers, and a Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match. Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. I'm actually looking forward to that video game, though. It's from the creators that did the Friday the 13th video game, so I'm excited for that video game.
All In is starting early in the United Kingdom due to curfew times.
11, I think noon Eastern. For 0 hour.
But that means it's kicking off at 5 p.m. in the afternoon in the United Kingdom. They're doing that so there's plenty of time for the show, so they don't get shut down. Like there's curfews in the United Kingdom. They got to be out of that. They got to be out of that stadium at a certain time. So that's why the show's running earlier over there. Plus, it's better for worldwide viewing when when it's in the afternoon. Over in the States.
Yeah.
Even if it started at 3 or 4 in the afternoon over here, I don't think it would have been a problem. But it's all about curfews and time limits and stuff. Like I've heard all about that from Lost in the Midcard regular Mark Show, who's currently in the hospital right now. So if you're watching this from your hospital bed, Mark Show, I hope you're feeling better and hope you get to go home soon, buddy.
Definitely. Looking at Raw, WWE.com, all they got is the Becky Lynch and
Trish Stratus match,
Stratus stuff, and then Nakamura talking about his attack on Rollins turning heel officially last week. And then we've got Fightful Select just putting it out here now. Hey, we're gonna get Indy Hartwell in a match. That's gonna be good. And a bunch of spoiler matches because they just put them all together at once. So it looks like a bunch of promos leading to matches tonight. I won't ruin those for you. Nothing way out of the ordinary. But Robert Roode backstage working as a producer. Why are these guys that are capable still working as producers, man?
Robert Roode's still hurt, dude. That man went through neck fusion surgery.
Oh, is he? Well, like Aldis is.
I have a conspiracy theory on the Aldis situation.
Okay.
I think this is Triple H's way around bringing someone in without signing them to a main roster contract. Because that merger's right around the corner. And after the merger runs out, they're probably going to be able to sign people again. If you bring in Aldis now as a producer and you sign him and you lock him in, that means he can't go somewhere else. So by the time that the merger becomes complete next month, then they're going to sign Aldis to an actual wrestling contract, and boom, there it is. That's what I think's going on with Nick Aldis right now.
That makes sense. All right. Well, that's it for our new and shorter edition of Lost in Midcard. It is now time for Monday Night Raw. So hope you guys enjoy Monday Night Raw. Enjoy the week ahead. We will be back at you next week. Once again, we'll start time as we're aiming for 10 or 15 minutes after the hour from when we normally start. It's not too much longer after that, but we're aiming for 10 or 15 after. So thank you for the chats. A lot of chat, a lot of people joining us today. So really appreciate you guys joining us live. Go enjoy Monday Night Raw. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thanks for tuning into Lost in the Midcard, brought to you by Bet Online.